This is Mrs. Boots, and we're going to work through the practice problems for the greatest common factor lesson. So starting with number 1, if you look at both terms, notice there aren't any numbers that we could divide by. However, both terms do have an x. So we could divide both of them by an x. Remember, the greatest common factor, what you divide by, always goes outside the parentheses. So x squared divided by x leaves us an x. 2 minus 1 is 1. And then in the second term, the x's cancel and we're just left with a negative 5. Okay? Let's look at number 2. Well, I don't have any x's I can pull out on this one, but 3 and 12 are both divisible by 3. So we're going to divide both of those by 3. The 3 is the GCF. It goes outside the parentheses. 3 divided by 3 cancels, and I'm left with just the x. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Remember to always bring down the sign. So negative 12 becomes a negative 4. Number 3. I have 2 and 12. Well, 2 and 12 are both divisible by 2. So I know I've got 2 as part of my GCF. But then I look and I see the x's. I have x squared and an x. You always pick the smaller exponent, so we're just going to go with plain x. And that's my GCF. GCF is 2x. So now when we divide those in the first term, the 2's cancel, and the x squared cancels with the x underneath, leaving me 1x behind. 12 divided by 2 is 6, and my x's are going to cancel. So it's just a plain 6. So it's 2x times x plus 6. Let's look at number 4. There are no numbers in here that they have in common. There's a 1 in front of that x squared, which doesn't help us any. Okay? But we can pull out an x. So that x becomes our greatest common factor. It goes out front in front of the parentheses. X squared divided by x is an x. The 3x, the x's cancel, leaving us with just plus 3. Number 5. Well, number 5, the first thing I notice is that there's 2 4s. So each term has a 4. Obviously, I can pull out a 4. Then I look at my x's. I have 3 x's in the first term, 1 x in the second term. So we pick the lowest number. So I can only pull out 1 x. So 4x is the GCF. In the first term, the 4's canceled. I have 3 x's. I took 1 away. I'm left with 2. So that must be an x squared. In the second term, the 4's cancel and the x's cancel. Remember, this is not a 0. If I take $4 and divide it between 4 people, everybody gets $1. Alright? So, the 4 divided by 4 becomes a 1. X divided by x becomes a 1. Let's look at number 6. Number 6 got a lot going on there. Check it out. So 6 and 2, just take your coefficients first. 6 and 2, both are divisible by 2. So we're going to start there. Is that the highest possible number you pull out? Yes. Now let's look at the a's. First term has 2, second term has 1. So I can only pull out 1. Now look at the b's. First term has 1, second term has 2. I can only pull out 1. Remember, you can pull out the lowest exponent, highest coefficient. So 2ab is the GCF. So we're dividing by 2ab. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And the a's, I had 2, I took 1 away. There's still 1 there. The b's are canceled. Drop down the negative sign. 2 divided by 2 is 1. A divided by a, it goes away. It's a 1. Okay? B squared, had 2 b's, took 1 away. There's still 1 left. So my answer is 2ab times 3a minus b. Let's look at number 7. 8 and 56. This is where you have to go back to your multiplication tables. Is 56 divisible by 8, or is it a smaller number? It is divisible by 8. That's the cool part. Okay, so 56 is divisible by 8. Yes, they're both divisible by 2, but remember, you want the greatest common factor. So I need to pick the highest possible number. Okay, they both also have an A. What about x's? Well, the first term's got one, the second one doesn't. So we're not going to pull out any x's. We're just pulling out 8a. So in the first term, the 8's are going to cancel, the a's are going to cancel, and I'm just left with x. Now 56 divided by 8 is 7. And the a's cancel. So I have 8a times an x minus 7. Number 8. I don't see any coefficients that are going to cancel, but I see lots of x's. I've got 3 x's in the first term and 2 x's in the second term. That means I can pull out 2. I pick out the lowest exponent. So my GCF is x squared. In the first term, I had 3 x's on top, took away the 2 x's on the bottom, and I'm left with 1x, because 3 minus 2 is 1. Second term, I still have the coefficient of 2. It hasn't changed, and my x squareds are going to cancel. So my answer is x squared times x minus 2. Number 9. Number 9, I got a 3 and a 12. That looks familiar. So we can divide 3 and 12 by 3. So part of my GCF is a 3. Now I see an x and an x squared. Remember to pick the lower exponent. So it's just plain x. So 3x squared divided by 3x. The 3's are going to cancel. I had 2 x's. I took one away. I have 1 left. So it's x minus. Now 12 divided by 3 is 4. And notice the x's cancel. So the answer is 3x times x minus 4. Number 10. 8 and 36. Well, they're both divisible by 9. Alright, let's start there. 9 and 9, right? 81, 36. So divide it by 9. So 81 divided by 9 is 9. Oh, I forgot my GCF. Got to put him out front. Do I have an x or a y that I can pull out? Well, they're in the second term, but not the first term, so no. Okay, so 81 divided by 9 is 9. 36 divided by 9 is 4. So it's 9 minus 4xy. Is there anything else I can pull out? No. Always double check and make sure that you've got everything pulled out that you can pull out. Let's look at number 11. Okay, so the letters are a little different. We don't have x's and y's, but that's okay. We can handle it. I see that I've got t's in this one. I've got a t squared and I've got a t. Well, I know I can divide by t. So that is GCF. Do I have any coefficients? No. Do I have any other letters I can pull out? Not that they both have. So it's just plain t. So I had 2 t's, took one away. I have 1 t left. The h is left over. There's nothing to divide it with. Second term, got to bring down the plus sign. I have a 3, and then my t's are going to cancel. So my answer is t, parentheses, th plus 3. Okay, number 12. 5 and 2. Well, you could multiply them together, but there's nothing that you can divide into both of them. So we're going to leave the 5 and 2 alone. Let's look at the c's, however. I have 3 in the first term, 2 in the second term, which means I can pull out 2 of them. Remember, you always pick the smallest exponent, largest coefficient. So c squared is my GCF. In the first term, I bring the 5 down because there's nothing to divide into it. I had 3 c's, I took 2 away, there's 1 left. Second term, bring the 2 down. I have c squared, c squared. They cancel out, I'm just left with that 2. So my answer is c squared, parentheses 5c minus 2. Number 13. I have 36 and 48. Now the first number that comes to mind for me is 12. 12 goes into both 36 and 48. If that doesn't work for you, start with 2, but you may have to take out the GCF again. So I know I can take out 12. I'm going to put that in the denominator. Now let's look at the x's. I have 1 x in the first term, 2 in the second. So the most I can take out is 1. Now look at the y's. I have 2 in the first term, 1 in the second. I only can take out 1. Whatever that highest is, that's all I can take out. Okay, so 12xy is the GCF. That is the greatest common factor. Now 36 divided by 12 is 3. X's cancel. I had 2 y's, took 1 away, I'm left with 1. Minus 48 divided by 12 is 4. X's, I had 2, took 1 away, I still have 1 left. Y's cancel. So my answer is 12xy times 3y minus 4x. Let's look at number 14. 75 and 60. The first thing you may notice is a 5. You could also pull out a 3. 5 times 3 is 15. So, 15 is the greatest common factor. Now look at the b's. You have 2 b's in the first one, 1 b in the second one. So you can only pull out 1. Now look at c's. I have c cubed and c to the 6. So I pull out the smaller of the 2 exponents. So that's c cubed. That's my greatest common factor. 15bc cubed. Now let's see what's left. 75 divided by 5 is 5. Had 2 b's, took 1 away, I still have 1 left. 3 c's, 3 minus 3 is 0. So the c's are gone. Drop down the plus sign. 60 divided by 15 is 4. B and B cancel. Had 6 c's, took 3 away, I still have 3. So my answer is 15bc cubed times 5b plus 4c cubed. Number 15. 6 and 11. Yeah, no, one's even, one's odd, so I can't pull out a 2. 11's not divisible by 3. 11's prime. It's only divisible by itself in 1, so that doesn't really help me. So let's look at our variables, our letters. So I have 3 e's in the first term, 1 in the second. So that means I can pull out 1. Now look at the f. I have 1 in each term, so I can pull out an f. So my GCF is EF. Now let's write what's left. The 6 comes down. I had 3 e's, I took 1 away, I still have 2. F's canceled. Minus 11 comes down. E's cancel, F's cancel. So it's just the 11. So my GCF was EF, and that's being multiplied times 6e squared minus 11. Number 16. 20 and 16. Well, they're both even, so we could pull out 2. But is there a bigger number? 20 and 16 are also both divisible by 4. So we're going to pull out 4. Is 20 divisible by 8? No. 16 is. Well, 20 is divisible by 10, but 16 is not. So 4 is the highest. Now look at your variables. I see they both have a p squared. So we can pull the p squared out. One of them has q's, but we don't have any q's in the first term, so we can't do that. So my GCF is 4p squared. 20 divided by 4 is 5. P squareds cancel. Minus 16 divided by 4 is 4. P squareds cancel. And the q squared is left over. So my answer is 4p squared times 5 minus 4q squared. Number 17. Wow, 34 and 17. Well, 17 is a prime number. What about 34? Well, 34 is even. If I divide it by 2, what do I get? I get 17. So that means they're both divisible by 17. Crazy teachers, you did that on purpose. Yep, we did. Okay, now let's look at the x's. I have 4 in the first term and 2 in the second. So 2 is the highest number I can pull out. Now look at the y's. I have 3 in the first term, 5 in the second. So 3 is the highest that I can pull out. So my GCF is 17 x squared y cubed. Now let's see what we got left. 34 divided by 17 is 2. I had 4 x's, took 2 away. I still have 2. Y's cancel. Minus 17 divided by 17 is 1. X squared and x squared cancel. There's 5 y's. I took away 3. There's still 2. Okay, so my answer is 17 x squared y cubed times 2x squared minus y cubed. Last problem. 35 and 105. Wow. So, I see they both end in a 5. I could take out a 5. But since we just had that trick on number 17 where we could divide both numbers, let's see what happens when you divide 105 by 35. Well, it turns out 35 times 3 is 105. So I know I can divide both of them by 35. Yeah, those crazy teachers trying to make it easy again. They made it harder, huh? So 35 is part of my GCF. Now let's look at the m's. First term has 3, second one has 2. So 2 is the highest I can pull out. Now the n's. First term has 1, second one has 3. So I can only pull out 1. So my GCF is 35 m squared n. Now let's see what's left. Well, 35 divided by 35 is 1. M cubed, m squared. Had 3, took 2 away, there's 1 left. N's are gone. Plus 105 divided by 35, we just said that's 3. M squareds cancel. 3 divided by 1 is 2. So my answer is 35 m squared n times m plus 3n squared. This concludes our practice problems for the GCF lesson.